Before inhaling, tone the Akasha song 3 times more. Now use the next in-breath to grab the Akasha Hierophant at the heart chakra. Latch onto it energetically and use the exhale to push the Akasha up into the 14th chakra, 36 inches above the head. And when you've done, tone the Akasha song 3 more times while imagining the Akasha Hierophant spinning in a clockwise direction in the 14th chakra, 3 feet above your head. And clockwise is so, going from left to right. So tone the song 3 times while imagining or visualizing the Akasha Hierophant spinning clockwise in chakra 14, 36 inches above your head. Now, move your attention to your Maharak shield 12 inches below your feet. Take 2 or 3 just relaxing breaths, easy breaths. And when you're ready, inhale deeply, using the breath to pull pale silver and blue energy up from your Maharak shield to chakra 14, 36 inches above your head, pulling your Maharak seal pillar upward and latching onto your 14th chakra at the same time. So very deep in-breath, pull pale silver and blue energy up from your Maharak shield to chakra 14 and pull your pillar upward and latch it also onto chakra 14. This procedure activates your temporary Maharak seal pillar, amplifying its intensity and strength with the key Rache frequencies of the Akasha code. Now envision the 4-inch diameter pale silver cord of Maharak light that would normally come up with activation of your Maharak seal pillar and focus on chakra 13 at Earth's core. Inhale using the breath to draw the Maharak cord of pale silver energy up into the body and to the heart chakra center, expanding the pale silver energy to form a pale silver Maharak sphere of D12 frequency within your heart center. On the exhale, use the breath to send your attention downward to chakra 13 at Earth's core. Inhale once more, using the breath to bring another load of Maharak frequency up from the planetary shields to the heart center, expanding into the pale silver Maharak sphere. Now repeat this inhale, exhale, up, down Maharak energizing breath several times, noticing that the Maharak cord grows larger with each breath, expanding initially from 4 to 6 to 8 inches. Continue the inhale, exhale, up, down, energizing breath as the cord progressively expands outward to form a skin around and within every cell of your body. As you do this, the Maharak energizing breath is loading your astral field, your default astral field, with Maharak frequency. Now bring your attention to the pale silver Maharak sphere you have created in your heart chakra. On the inhale, use the breath to move the Maharak sphere up to meet the Akasha Hierophant at the 14th chakra, 36 inches above your head. And as you do, try to sense the sheath of Akasha code charged pale silver Maharak frequency encasing your D1 etheric body, radiating from within the body to about 1 inch above the skin. This pale silver Maharak crystal skin charges and saturates your etheric body with Akasha code amplified D12 Maharak frequency subharmonics. Just try to sense and experience directly the peacefulness and all-knowing nature of this frequency. And now for the 3 final breaths. Begin by toning the Akasha Song 3 times. Draw a deep breath, and on the exhale, expand the Maharic sheath crystal skin further outward around your body and into your auric field. Repeat the Akasha tones 3 more times when you've done that. And as you do this, the pale silver Maharic sheath crystal skin begins to assume the teardrop shape of the Akasha. Repeat the song once more whilst you continue to develop and build the teardrop shape of the Akasha in your auric field. Inhale and exhale deeply. See or feel the pale silver Akasha teardrop expand fully outward into your auric field, its top point anchored in the 14th chakra 36 inches above your head, its bottom embracing chakra 13 at Earth's core below your feet. Repeat the Akasha Song tones once more. Akasha, Uma Etre Ina Akasha, Uma Etre Ina Akasha. Inhale, and on the final exhale, expand the pale silver Akasha crystal skin Maharic sheath out into the universe as far as you can. And then tone the Akasha Song quietly for the final time. Uma Etre Ina Akasha, Uma Etre Ina Akasha, Uma Etre Ina Akasha. Maharata Kumbai vectus as a tenure to enable Kayuniblium by vectai. Maha by vectai un ore on amor. Iste ante iste traja era. Patate uma. Ashelom Taeja Ente Doe Shaddai Urea Kuntan Kuntan Shaddai Urea Kuntan Kuntan Shaddai Urea Kuntan. Nicely done, everybody. Nicely done. So we move into the next section with a little reading, expediting interdimensional mobility. This is about understanding the astral body. Astral body, astral projection, part 1. The astral body is the natural electromagnetic density 1 trion mirage round field radial body imprint of the density 1 physical body, into which the D3 mental body awareness passes in order to explore beyond its physical space-time location through what is called astral projection. The astral body becomes functional for interdimensional travel through activation of the 4th and 5th DNA strand templates. The D4 astral plane is perceived when the D3 mental body expands into D5 frequency through activation of strand 5. Strand 4 activation allows perception of the D3 mental body as the mental body expands to the D4 station of consciousness. The term astral body is also sometimes used, more loosely, to refer to the D4 energy body egg capsule of the auric field, in which the D4 station of conscious identity resides. The full astral body vehicle can walk physically in the D4 astral plane, that's the density 2 atomic plane, from the D5 station of consciousness following activation of DNA template strand 5. The astral body electromagnetic replica imprint of the 3-dimensional density 1 body forms from the primal life force currents of the Eros, that's D7 and 8 Eron Ectron round field, E-ray, D10 mirage field, Mane, the D11 trion field, and Manu, D12 round field of the combined density 1 and density 2 radial bodies, when the density lock seals between the density 1, density 3 mental body density 1 dimension 3 mental body open to the density 1 radial body, and the density 2 density lock seal between the D4 astral body and density 2 radial body open to each other, allowing the density 1 dimension 3 mental body consciousness to expand into dimension 4 frequency bands. When consciousness expands to D4, dimension 4, the D3 mental plane, 1 full dimension below, is perceived as solid. When the consciousness continues expansion to dimension 5 frequency bands through release of the next density seal locks, the D4 astral plane, or density 2 atomic plane, which is the same thing, is perceived as solid. The ability to astral project develops with progressive activation of DNA strand templates 4 and 5, through which the density lock seals that keep the D3 mental body consciousness confined to one density and space-time vector they release, thus allowing the mental body ego awareness to traverse other regions of space-time and density. Astral projection, also referred to as out-of-body experience, is the first step in the development of physical body transmigration abilities, such as physical bilocation and Stargate passage ascension, both of which require full release of all density 1 density lock seals. We have a literal here then. Okay. You put a circle around it. Density 1 dimensional lock seals.
Yeah.
Okay. Presently,
astral starts happening when the density lock, the dimensional lock starts to release. And so on after all of these and these release, with these density locks release on their own. These are the ones we're working on with Rebecca first, right? The big ones, the density ones. But for the astral is to begin first this one, dimensional lock 3 releases. And then progressively this one begins to release as well. Dimensional lock 6, and then these lower ones, the international sequence. So we're stimulating the whole thing by activating the big density seals in between them.
Okay. All right. Presently, and since 25,500 BC, an artificially generated shield's template distortion called the net, which is the Nibiruan electrostatic transduction field, causes the human D3 mental body ego great difficulties in natural formation and usage of the organic astral body vehicle. The net distortion manifests within the galactic shield of our solar system through distortion of the solar shield and within the planetary shield and magnetic fields of Earth, subsequently causing reciprocal mutation and malfunction within the DNA template and chemical DNA of all Earth species. The net is directly responsible for creating the unnaturally exaggerated duality and polarity of consciousness known as the violence mutation within Earth and animal species, and for manifestation of the unnatural structures of the shadow body, elemental and figment attachments, all of which inhibit the organic function of the astral body vehicle. Amareya flame shadow healing technologies are required to safely expedite restoration of the natural human astral body vehicle, DNA template and Merkaba field function, and to reinstate the natural integrity and integration of genuine D12 Christos spiritual consciousness. Now to what? Out of body?
Yeah, I can do that one.
Can do out of body?
Yeah,
all right.
Right through the near-death
Near-death, right, cool. All right, next, out-of-body experiences or out-of-body episodes. Terms often used to describe the natural or inorganic experiential phenomenon associated with states of natural astral projection, astral body travel, or inorganic shadow body travel. Out-of-body travel results from the D3 mental body expanding or projecting its consciousness and accelerating its acceleration rate into higher dimensional frequency bands beyond the station of the D2 elemental and D1 atomic density 1 bodies through DNA template activation. As the D3 mental body rises progressively higher than the frequencies of the D2 elemental emotional and D1 atomic physical body, the D3 ego often experiences this expansion of consciousness as being out of body. In truth, the consciousness does not leave the physical body, but rather expands through the body and DNA template into the density 1 radial body field. The projecting body stays tethered to and projects outward from the density 1 physical, emotional, mental body system through a pale silver-blue cord of energy that connects the density 1, D12, 11, 10 radio body wave field to the density 1 body through a lock seal that exists within the E-ombi point, which is positioned just below the navel in the physical body template. If the D3 mental body expands too far in frequency from the density 1 body, the physical body system will gently yank the silver cord, drawing the mental body back into contracted D3 focus to lower its frequency. If the gap in frequency that occurs in projection between the D3 mental body and the D2, D1 emotional physical bodies extends for too long a time, the oscillation rate of the lower bodies can drop too low in frequency. This results in the possibility of breaking the silver-blue radial body Eombi cord, setting in motion a premature Bardoa death transition. The body consciousness knows this and thus draws the D3 mental body back from projection when a certain drop of body frequency is reached. If the projecting D3 ego attempts to ignore or override this bioresponse, it can experience difficulty in remerging the D3 mental body with the D2, D1 emotional physical body fields as the Eombi cord begins to contract. The ego may thus find itself trapped out of body, unable to get back in. The D5 soul consciousness will then send a bit of D4-5 frequency to the DNA template to spark a rise in bodily oscillation rhythm, so the Eombi core expands again, permitting the D3 mental body to remerge with the physical, allowing the ego to get back into the body. In extreme cases of projection involving shadow body net interference, the Eombi cord can become severed and the Bardoa, which is permanent separation of the D3 mental and D2 emotional bodies from the D1 atomic body, the Bardoa is set in motion and the ego meets its biological death transition. By working with Maharic, Node and Vecca technologies progressively, develops the ability to experience safe and natural out-of-body projection and astral body travel. And finally, some comment on near-death experiences. NDE, near-death experience, is a term often used to describe the natural experiential phenomenon associated with states of expedited D5 soul projection. D5 soul body projection is the result of the D3 mental body rapidly expanding its consciousness through the pale silver EMB cord below the navel and accelerating its oscillation rate through the D3 mental plane, radio body, and D4 astral plane directly into the density 2 soul body, dimension 5 station of consciousness. NDEs are initiated by the personal higher dimensional spiritual identity through sparking of the 4th and 5th DNA strand templates into early activation for the purpose of accelerating natural consciousness expansion and dimension 5 soul integration. The NDE soul spark temporarily displaces the D3 mental body fully into the EMB cord, such as occurs in natural Buddha, drawing the mental body into rapid expansion through the density 1 radio body, void, and astral body for temporary merger with the dimension 5 soul body. The dark tunnel often reported in NDEs is perception of the mental body's passage through the density 1 void lock. The light at the end of the tunnel is perception of the D5 archetypal soul plane. Upon return to the body, the D3 mental body carries a trace imprint of D5 frequency, which triggers sustained activation of DNA strands 4 and 5 in the DNA template. This expedited activation of DNA strands template 4 and 5 activates the dimension 5, the D5 eros in the radio body mirage field, opening the mental body lock seal to rapidly create an open communication line between the density 2 soul self and the density 1 ego. We're not doing this bit, are we now?
Not yet.
No.
No, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the astral
That's
body.
good. All right.
Then we do that and go right into the technique. It's not giving you much of a break then. Yes, it's not giving you much of a break. Alrighty. These diagrams were wild to put together because, I knew I had an astral body and I find myself popping around in it quite frequently, but I never knew the anatomy. We had our anatomy in Kathara of the Huva bodies, which would be these, your D1 atomic body, which has your D1 level of subconscious mind, your D2 elemental emotional body, which has your D2 level of the subconscious mind, and your D3 mental body level, and then we had the radial body around it. I knew that much. I was like, where the heck does the astral body fit in all of this? Is it simply the D4 part of ourselves that's in the D4 astral plane? And I could never figure out, well, if it is, why does it go roaming around like that? And all of that. There's a whole level of how the anatomy works that that hadn't been downloaded yet. Well, when we got it, it came through with the shadow body things. To understand shadow body, they needed to show us, first of all, how parts are supposed to work together, and also to understand flame body activation. We needed to understand some basic procedures about the fact that we have these cords. The EMB cord is one. There's another one that activates when we do a certain level of flame activation that comes from here. It would actually create two cords that go up and link into these to bring the frequencies into the higher density 3. The most important thing to understand, if we're going to understand shadow and we're going to understand flame body activation, is to simply realize that we have here what's called the Huva body. These three levels would be the Huva body, the D1 atomic, the D2 elemental, and the D3. Elemental is also called the emotional body. That's where we get that sensation we call emotion. And the D3 mental body. On a planetary level, it's the subatomic consciousness, or the atomic level of the planet, the elemental, or the elements of the planet that form the planetary body that we see, and the mental body would be the atmospheric body. So the Earth has that structure too. And then around that, there is a set of frequencies here that are primarily D7 and D5. It's called a D7, D5 Eron field. And it forms, when it's depolarized, what's called the Eros flame. So when it usually exists if you haven't activated certain seals and density locks and things in the body. This field that's right outside of your mental body it remains in polarity, and it keeps the separation level between these fields, right, between your mental body and the radio body fields. When we do the first level of flame activation, this becomes what's called the silver sanctum, and it creates a pale silver D12 frequency by combining the 7 and the 5 frequencies. So this is where we get what's called our silver sanctum Eros flame capsule, and I'll show you the diagram that goes with that. But before you have that activation, it's remaining as a polarized field of natural frequency in the right outside of the mental body field. Outside of that, there's what's called the Miage field. It's formed of mesons, which are carriers of the E-ray force. It is the base magnetic, they call it, or sound. All right, it's the sound field. And outside of that, you have the Manet force, which is the trion field, the light field. So there's your trion Miage field. And now here you have the rayon field, which is the carrier of the Manu force, and that's the void space that's actually part of your radio body capsule. In the process of astral projection, literally the mental body, the D3 level of consciousness here, begins to travel through release of this dimensional lock seal, begins to travel through the Eros field, the Eron field, and through the levels of the trion Miage field. And as it passes through, it picks up an electromagnetic imprint that carries the image that the body had, that the physical body has here, carries an image of it in through these fields and makes a replica. And that's what you find yourself walking around in. Now, the first thing you find yourself walking around in isn't the astral plane at all. You get astral plane with fifth strand activation. But the first thing you would encounter would be, you'd be seeing the D3 mental plane. When you go up to D4 consciousness, where your consciousness is stationed in D4, okay, let's see, your consciousness is up here, you're actually perceiving the D3 plane, because you will see a solid what's exactly one-dimensional frequency band below the station of consciousness, which means below the strand activation level. All right. Oh, cool. How did I do that? I don't know, but I did it. I know I'm out. All right. I missed. Remember this. If you want, the first thing is I want to look around. Yeah, right. You look around too fast, you'll lose the whole focus. It's like if you turn your head too fast, it does something with the cord, and it jiggles it or something, and it snaps you right back into body, where you lose the experience. Everything will blur, and then you just find yourself either falling asleep and waking back up in your body saying, did I dream something? Or that kind of thing. So there's a lot of tricks of the trade when you start to get astral. Now, at the point that we're going to flame body activation, it's like you could get 5 years on the fun parts of astral body travel, and then soul body travel, and then going up into the higher spaces. We don't even have time for that. It will come at some point as a natural part of the process. It will be used when it's important for education. Now, part of this course is about contact with the Iani, or the selves of you that are incarnate as Iani in the echo worlds and the higher God worlds. They will use communication through the mental body projection and through astral body projection at first. One of the first signs that it's happening is you think you're going what's called narcoleptic, where narcolepsy is a disease that science has identified, where people their brain does something chemically and they just fall asleep on their feet, whatever they're doing, wherever they are, literally. When they started first, as I call it, pulling me, all right, to go for class, I literally went for a medical test to find out if I was narcoleptic at the time. I mean, they told me I wasn't, but I needed at that point the reinforcement from the outside, the medical, just to make sure. And they do whatever those things are, the EEGs, yeah, where they do the brainwave. They analyze the brainwaves, so that's how they can detect it. And I didn't have it, but it felt like it, because I would get for weeks on end. It would go in cycles, like maybe 6 weeks of wackiness, and then 6 weeks of nothing at all, not even remembering a dream. But I'd be doing something, and it usually wasn't something that was too important. It never happened while I was driving or anything that could endanger myself or anyone else. It'd usually be when I wanted to go do something else, but somebody else had something in mind. My heart part had something in mind for me. And it would be appointments. There were appointments that were being scheduled in Inner Earth. And I would find really tired, and I realized that, if I don't lay down, I will fall down. And it would have been. And I knew that. I could just tell. So it was like, okay, what's the closest space I can go and lay down comfortably? And as soon as I'd lay down, the first week or so, I just fell asleep. Had no idea. But when I came back, I felt energized. I felt good. What the heck was that? I don't know. I'm not a person that takes naps. By the time it was about into the third week, I would shift instantly. And this is where I realized the whole process had been part of a process where as soon as I laid the body down, my consciousness, I'd hear this little static noise in my ears and feel pressure in my head for a second. It wasn't painful, it was just pressure. And then it was like pop. And I'd be wide awake in my astral body somewhere else. And I'd be there with guardians, and they would be talking to me, and they'd be explaining things and showing me books of maps and teaching me all sorts of stuff. And they come on, you have an appointment. There's about 500 of them waiting for you down here. And like there was bunches of us. The indigos are being trained like this. You may already have been in training since you were a child with this kind of stuff. But what they're doing is they're activating the seal in the cord, and it's your higher parts that are doing it, your own soul and oversoul and avatar level, to get you into where the guardian levels that are helping you from the higher worlds can communicate with you before you have your communication lines open. Wait a second, please. And what they're doing is they're making this process happen. They're opening this seal, and they're activating your strands. All right, they're sending you bursts of frequency through your oversoul and soul body that temporarily trigger activation of the strands just enough to get you out into the mental and then into the astral, and sometimes as far up as your strands can tolerate. And I got to the point where we would schedule appointments, where I got conscious enough of the process, where they'd say, okay, like tomorrow at 2 o'clock, prepare to be pulled, And so is there ever going to be a chance when, like, I don't have to be pulled, where I can, like, pop myself, what I mean? Where it's self-generated. And they said, yeah, but it takes some work and it takes some understanding. This is the understanding. The understanding, first of all, how it's supposed to work. Second of all, what we're going to go into this afternoon with the shadow body, because this is what's blocking the natural process from down here, where it makes it very difficult for us to participate in this natural process because of the shadow body apparatus that's hanging all over our fields down here. So it's fun when you start to get astral. I wish there was more time to do astral body training. But at this point, we're going to have, the only astral body training that we will have will probably be soul body training, which is going up into the D6 level minimum, and learning to go into the gates to start bringing frequency back to activate the body faster and faster. And you will be taken first on journeys mentally. If you can't get your mind there, you're never going to get your body there. So they will give us at some point gate codes where we learn to project first with the gate codes. I mean, the gate codes are different than lock codes. They're security seals that are put on the locks and the gates that the Iani have access to, and it's being trusted with having the ability to go through the gate. They'll give you the gate codes, and you can learn how to go through certain gates and start conscious training. The first part of that is adopting a mentor, where there's some of the Iani that are willing to work with us in a mentorship role that we can begin, and there's two exercises in this program that will assist you if you want to make contact with the Iani or with a part of yourself that's an Iani. See, we all have parts of ourselves in the Eka systems and in the God world systems as well. So you can choose to talk to you up there, or you can choose to talk to yourself and some others up there, just to get to know them a bit and find out, who's who. And it'll be funny because you'll start to recognize people here, because you'll meet them up there and you'll realize, oh, that person down here that lives next door to me, that's Joe up there, that's his Susan down here, right? Yeah. It's really, really bizarre. What you're doing when you're projecting, too, is time traveling. You're traveling into a different pulsation rhythm of shields, which means a different time cycle, because linear time is really a pulsation rhythm, where it's the turning on and off of scalar waves in the shield that the consciousness follows, the different rhythms. And one set of pulsations gives you one linear vector, which is really a cycle. And once you get done with that, you go up to a little higher vector, and it progressively gives the consciousness like a little railroad track to follow that progressively climbs higher and higher in frequency. So when you're traveling astral body, or when eventually you bring your physical body with you, you are jumping time. You're going into what's called multi-vector consciousness. Right now we've been trapped in single-vector consciousness, which means we have only been able to see and perceive and experience one pulsation rhythm that gives us one linear time vector, because all of the other potential has been shut off in our DNA and in our templates. These activations bring back and expedite bringing back the potentiality of multi-vector consciousness, which is the natural state of the human condition. So this is the beginning process. We'll probably speed through that rather quickly, and you probably will not get astral body training from the inside unless it's important to whatever you're here to do. Some of you may have started it already and know it. And you also may have another sign of this, that they're working with you in that capacity, is that if you find, like when you first wake up, or sometimes if you wake up in the middle of the night, when you're in that space, there's a space between being awake and being not quite awake, where you're not awake enough to like bop out of bed yet, but you're not in your dream anymore, and you're awake, but you're not quite moving, and you almost feel like your body doesn't move yet. That space is where very often they will project in to your range of perception and kind of like probably scare you half to death, where you'll see them in the room with you, and sometimes like this, big human in a nice white robe will be standing there trying to talk to you, that kind of thing. The negative guys do that as well. Now what? I mean, there's some really weird sounds that come out of that door over there. So anyway, this is a basic astral body structure. All right, what we're going to do next. They were crushing stuff yesterday. Now they're hosing it down. But anyway, what we're going to do next is read. There's a little bit of reading about Technique 2, which is the technique that's called, I believe, Astral Awake, Aware, and Able. It begins the process of releasing this seal and beginning the process of opening the EMB cord. And it, I believe, is level 1 of Eros flame activation. Is that one that is? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's, level 1 of Eros flame activation. Now, I think, I'm very tempted, because this is level 1 of it, I may show you that diagram first. Yeah, and then we'll do the technique. When I say Eros flame activation, wait a minute, this is what I'm referring to. I think I'll put these two up side by side so you can see the difference. Okay, now, remember, this is what before any flames are activated, this is what you have over here. Okay, right? And that's the potential of getting your astral body going. Now, when you do the activations for astral body, just ignore it. I mean, jeez. Boy. For astral projection, it's only this seal that's releasing here. All right, this actually gets you out into your D3. You see the mental plane. You can walk around in the mental plane as if it were solid. It's actually the next seal up that would get you into the D5 level of perception. But you're working with the dimensional seals between each dimensional band, as opposed to the big density seals between each density level. Now, when we get into Eros flame activation, what we are dealing with is the activation of the density seals as well as the dimensional seals. So, the first level of Eros flame activation, the first two levels of activation that create the Eros flame activation. So this technique and the next one, whatever is level 2, I don't know if it's the next one, if there's something sandwiched in between them, but this is the first level of activation of the Eros flame. It used to look like this down here, remember? The radial body. You had the Eros field here, you had the physical, mental, emotional body, you had the Eros field, and the 3 levels of the radial body field. Well, the first thing that happens is you still have the 3 levels of the radial body field, but they're starting to take on an akasha shape because the seals are opening here and here. It's beginning the process of depolarizing this field. The Eros field down here, that field depolarizes and fills with the pale silver light, the D12, pale silver Maharic light. So it's your Christ capsule. It's also called the Christ flame, this particular flame. And it's the first level of flame body activation. Once this depolarizes, the next phases we go into are depolarizing this. And to do that, you have to open up this level on density 2, and then the 2 come together and form what's called a transharmonic Eros flame, which means these divisions in between here are all dissolved. That seal fully opens, and you have a big akasha bubble that spans your soul body and your physical, or yourself down here, your incarnate body down here. So this is the process. We're in the process of building. The first activations will give us this, and then we will go into the Amareya flame activations, which activate the radial body out here on density 1, which allows the density 2 Eros flame inside to pop, which allows these two to come together, and it forms one big flame that crosses the void. All right? Which means once that body is fully activated and sustained, you would have the ability to go from density 1 into density 2, from density 1 gates into density 2 gates. That's the first level. And what we're going to do now, the exercise we're going to do now, is the first level of building this one, the Eros flame. And I believe there's one more Eros flame activation. Then we get into the Amareya flame, which applies to the outer layers of the radial body field. When they depolarize, they turn into the emerald blue-green. It's a very pretty emerald blue-green flame, the eternal flame of Amareya, as it's called. And Amareya means divine love, or God love, whatever you want to call it. So this is what we're in the process of doing now. Again, here's the EUMB point. This is where that cord comes out. We're activating the flame in the EUMB point. All right, there's an internal aspect of this Christos flame, and this flame is associated with something called the celestite crystal. And the celestite crystal is the crystal seal, and celestite has to do with actually the gemstone substance resonance, that like the type of crystal that is called celestite, which is a pale bluish silver kind of color, light blue silver color, pale silver blue, in the planetary grids, that it matches our EMB point seal. And when we begin to activate that, which we do in the activations to come, it progressively activates this little flame here, which is the Eros flame inside the body, and that is what causes this field to depolarize down here and turn into the externalized Eros flame. So you have to activate it first to get it to happen on the outside. And that's really the way all reality is. If you create it inside first, that's how you get it into your hologram. But you don't get it into your hologram, whatever it is you're trying to manifest, if you try to make it in your hologram, but you haven't made it in yourself, inside of yourself first. So this is an energy pattern that's natural and organic to your shields. It's activating the center point of the telluric shield. All right, that's your density 1 shield. That's the first level of flame body activation. Looking on the Cathara grid, which I'll push this up a little. In the Cathara grid over here, this is what it's activating, this density lock seal right here, and that's where that flame comes out. When we get to the Amareya flame activations, it's lock 2, which is the Azure point that will activate, and that's the one that would be up here. And it would open another cord of energy, and eventually those cords all blend into one large cord of energy where you don't need cords anymore, because you can just move the whole thing, the whole physical, mental, emotional body structure through the flame body. But this is the beginning of building it. By the time we're done with today's activations, we're going to open this one, open this one, open this one, and I believe open this one. They haven't even given us the written exactly what it does on these higher ones yet, but they've given us the techniques to do them. They're the ones we were given in France. So we're literally going for level 5 Amareya flame activation by the end of the day. All right. Now what's nice about these, some of these exercises, they get a bit long, and you don't have to do them again. Literally, you don't have to activate these things again. There's only one of them that you would need to do on a consistent basis, and it has like a long version you can listen to on a tape once a week, and then there's 6 short steps on a daily basis. It was faster than the Maharic Seal was, that will keep all of this activated. This is the activation. So when you go through it once, that gives you the activation, and all you have to do is the maintenance stuff to sustain it. You don't have to go back through all of these. If you can't stay conscious, well, if you can't stay awake while we run through some of the longer exercises, that's okay. You're still picking up the activation. What you've done is you've shifted consciousness. You've shifted your consciousness into the higher D3 and D4 realms to pick up the rest of the activation. It just meant your body reached its saturation point of how much it could feel. So if you go to sleep, everybody's like, oh, I want to go to a workshop where they make me shift consciousness and I get to go somewhere else. Well, you do. There are people who fall asleep all the time during these activations, especially if they're like the first time they've been through them, particularly in group energy. Because in group energy, it's really, there is a benefit to coming to the workshops, because the group energy helps to sustain everybody's, amplifies the heck out of the activations for everybody that's here, just by the exponential relationships of energy between one body of energy and another and another. If you find yourself kind of phasing out, let yourself go. I mean, in Phoenix, it was a riot. We had, I think, how many people there? 100? There was 100 people. 100 people. That was like, I know, it was huge. It was a huge group. It was like 100 people or more than 100 people. I forget how many. 160? Yeah, okay, 160 people. And when we did this whole long series, and I tried to break them up this time so it's not as bad, but we did like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 all together. And there were people snoring from all sorts of corners of the room. People were laying down all over the place. One of the things that we tell you is it is okay to lay down if you get tired. Your body can process and run the frequency better sometimes in a horizontal position, or if you're sitting up against the wall where you have some back support. If you feel you need to do that, don't fight your body. It's telling you something. If you want to hold this activation, move me this way. All right? So when we get into especially the heavier ones, even the ones before lunch, I don't know if 4 needs it. 4 is pretty, well, kind of, 3 and 4? Yeah, you shouldn't have to lay on the floor for this one, but if you feel it at any point that you need to do that, feel free, and don't think you missed something. You might have missed the words. You can take those home in the book with you, but you've got the activation. That's why if you can't keep up even with some of the information that's given here, just for the fact that you were here with a group of people with the intention of wanting to activate your flame body, that is consent to your avatar, all right? The fact that you would like to. If you can't remember all the steps to an exercise, or you can't see the pictures that are making it run right now, realize you're still getting the activation. Your job is really to just show up. That's the first thing you can do in service to your own avatar, is just show up. If you feel you want the flame body activation, you're getting guidance on that somewhere out there. Show up, be with the people, be with the frequencies, and you go home with them, even if you don't remember all the steps and don't remember the experiences you had when you went to sleep yet. That's okay. So these activations are very special in the sense that all you have to do is a simple technique to keep them maintained once you've got them. You don't even have to go through them ever again, but it will give you, you've got the ability to continue the process that has to do with plugging into that wave that's going, that has to do with the May 27th, 2003 Hitharo. It means you will have activated in your shields, even if you can't figure out what the heck did it mean in the first place, just know you're ready. All right? You are ready for May 27th, where you will be able to activate the cosmic 1111 in the shields, and you have all the support you need with your own avatar and higher consciousness and your own ascended master levels of identity. The ascended master levels of identity, the real ones, are in on it at this point. It must be important. There must be a lot going down between now and 2012. But we're all getting the ability to open up, not just the Rishik level, but all the way up into the Eka and beyond that. We're getting our huge cosmic family support. So don't feel bad if you can't visualize yet. Don't feel bad if you fall asleep after 3 sentences. And don't get mad if somebody wakes you up when the exercise is done. It might be worth coming back. Right? Just know that you did get the activation that you came for, even if you can't fully hold your awareness of it in body yet. Realize you have shifted consciousness out of body into either the D3 mental plane or the D4 astral plane, where you're processing it there, and you actually do remember it there. It means you're storing it in strand 4 instead of strand 3. For you to remember an experience that's interdimensional, that has taken you out into frequencies that are above D123, you have to encode those frequencies in your lower strands. If you can't yet bring it into strand 3, because strand 3 is not ready, it doesn't have enough of its own coding activated to hold that, or it has some blockages that needed to be healed, which we all have blockages there because of the shadow body stuff that we'll learn about this afternoon, you will leave the information for yourself in strand 4, which means you'll leave it for yourself in the astral plane. It means it's hanging out right here, floating around in your field. But since you don't see your field yet, you don't realize it's there. You are aware on all those levels at once. And the only thing about forgetting is the fact that you can't bring that much information into that small amount of, let's say, scalar wave patterns that would hold it. You're building the ability to open strand 3 more, to heal it, so it can hold those memories. So I just want you to know and be encouraged. Even if you feel like you're lost in space, by the time we get done explaining all the anatomy and what activates, what did I do? Just know you're building the flame body. At least remember what it is you're working for, what it's connected to, which is the building of your Yukatharista flame body, which will show you that's the most expanded level of it. We'll show you what that is. If you know that intention, that's the intention that you desire, and you want to be on the path of freedom, which this is, that's enough. You can just show up. You'll also find out that you might be guided to grids that are activating in specific ways, where you'll just get it, I know I have to go to a certain place. I don't know why, but I can feel it, and you'll get it like repeatedly. Gee, you really have to go there. I don't really want to go there, but I need to. And you'll just really feel some kind of spiritual guidance that you need to be in a certain place. It can be one of two things. Either your shadow's trying to get you metatronically zapped, or right? Or your avatar and higher selves are trying to get you to where you can pick up on grid activations that are next level activations of the Vekas and those kind of things, so you can expedite your process. And the more once you have these flame activations, you'll still have the shadow issue. That shadow, it needs to transmute itself, and it takes a bit of time to do that. And depending on how involved the shadow dancers you've become in other lifetimes, and this one, will determine how fast you'll be able to sever the cords to the shadow dancers, or whether they'll be able to record you, and you kind of go back and forth. No, it's my body. No, you're not getting my body. Excuse me, I'm not going to let you have my body. That kind of stuff, because they're up for body snatches right now. Between now and May 27th, it's like prime time to snatch any indigo you can get your hands on when you're a shadow dancer. So there may be a little issue with that. Just have faith in the whole bit, and have faith in yourself when you're doing these things. Give it about 3 shots if you get an impulse to go somewhere. Maybe it's somebody's workshop, or maybe it's a faraway country that I don't know why I'm going there, but I know I need to. Give it 3 shots where you get the impulse, all right, before you try to analyze it. And some of the contact exercises that we'll be using, particularly the last one, it will be literally the last night, tomorrow night, that's where you can take it up to your higher levels and kind of say, okay, is this yours? Did you send me this email, to get me to go somewhere, or is it coming from somewhere I don't want to listen to? So you can start to get some clarification. But this is what we're going to do now. First level, activating the Eros flame of the density 1 radio body. And I think, what goes right after that? Is there one right after it? Let me see. I want to see if they're together.
We got that. And then 2 is right after.
Well, that is 2. Yeah. Actually, I think they could read this on their own if they want to. Yeah, they can read that. We'll go right into the thing. Yeah, I just want to point out that if you want more of a technical explanation of what this Eros activation is, wait a minute, please, page 41 will give you that, so you can read that at home if you want to. Yes? Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. A special request from a few, a spokesperson from a few. It was requested that we have like a really quick 5-minute restroom break before we go into this. And I would definitely say yes on that, simply because these are very hard to sit through and pay attention to if you're sitting there with your legs crossed, bouncing up and down, trying not to, All right.
You're going to be late for lunch. We've got to fit in Regent ordinations tonight, which means you're going to be late for dinner, so we're trying to keep close to the schedule. If you could just bear in mind that we're going to get backed up whichever way we try and deal with this. Okay. So if you just close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing rate, and once more try and reduce your normal rate to about 1/2 speed. And that, incidentally, is a rate of breathing, a slowed rate of breathing, which, if you can manage to remember it throughout the technique, which will be a bit difficult perhaps, it is the breathing level that is best to facilitate the techniques overall. Now, we're going to do technique 2 and 3 together. Technique 2 is called Astral Awake, Aware and Able, Network Sensing, Projection and Shape-Shifting, which is Eros Flame Activation Level number 1. This technique is designed to release the dimensional lock number 3 seal between the D3 mental body and the density 1 radio body Eros field, bringing the D1 atomic etheric body out of density 1 biological phase lock. Now begin by imagining that within the center of your brain there is a small, dimly lit circular room. This dimly lit circular room is a safe, comfortable place. And within it there's a gently spiraling staircase which goes down into a calm, pale blue-gray space of energy that is within you. And this pale blue-gray space within you is called the sleeping room. Now we want you to try and focus your mental attention fully in this small circular room at the top of the staircase. Because it's dimly lit in the room, you'll need to spend a few seconds feeling the sensation of being within it until your inner eyes adjust to the dim light. So we'll spend just a minute or two feeling the sensations around your physical body as if you were there, fully there in the small circular room. Begin by feeling for the temperature of the air as it touches your skin. Try to register whether or not it feels cool or warm, cold or hot, comfortable or uncomfortable. If you bring your attention to your hearing sense, do you detect any sound in this room? And if you do, make a mental note of what kind it is. And as you increase the focus of your mental attention here in this calm, pale blue-grey space of energy within you, you may begin to sense or see objects, colors, light. And again, if you do, make a mental note of what they're like. Allowing yourself to see, feel, which is how much of the cognition works. You don't necessarily see in the way you see in 3D at all. But you feel and you know. Then you can describe things like this. So maintaining a keen sense that the circular room is physically real and that your physical body is standing within it. Ask within your senses, with your physical and mental bodies, where the entrance to the spiral staircase is positioned in relation to where you're standing in the circular room. If it were to magically open up now, emerging from your physical body and into the room you're now physically standing in, sense the area of your physical body from which the staircase would emerge. This point is your own natural departure point. So check to the left or the right, or whether it's directly in front or behind you. Is it above or below the navel level? Or it may even be below or above your head and feet. Everyone has such a point. It is the area of the body template from which the mental body consciousness naturally expands to enter states of projection. If you're not able to sense the departure point, simply imagine where you would like it to be, where it feels most natural to you, and put it there. Now, having established where this natural departure point for you is, put your mental attention in this area and imagine that your awareness is poised at the top stair of this spiral staircase. The staircase extends downward from your departure point into an area that resembles a pale blue-grey tunnel. Now, before you go there, sense the location of the staircase handrail and imagine yourself reaching out to grasp it with the hand you usually use, your natural hand. And with this natural hand resting easily in your lap, begin to sense the feeling of the handrail within the palm of your physical hand, and allow your hand to physically grasp the invisible handrail. So allow your hand to move as if you're actually grasping the handrail while you have your hand resting in your lap. Now, using this sensation of gripping the handrail in your palm, imagine now that your mental awareness begins to slowly walk down the dimly lit stairway, and count each of the steps you take as you slowly descend. 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue. Everyone will have at least 22 steps. Some will have more. If you sense that there are more steps there after the 22nd, count the remaining steps quite quickly while walking down to the bottom of them. Try to remember how many additional steps there are there. But with repeated practice of this technique, the steps below 22 will just disappear. And you'll eventually find the 22nd step is the bottom step that leads directly into the pale blue-grey sleeping room. Now imagine that you are standing on the 22nd and bottom step. Release the handrail while allowing your hand to relax in your lap. Imagine that you're stepping from the 22nd step to the granite floor of the sleeping room. while imagining the sleeping room as a circular granite cave that is dimly lit with a very pale, diffuse blue light. If you can't imagine this, just intend that that's the way it is. In the center of the sleeping room there is an ancient granite slab that rises up from the floor to the height of a dining table. Imagine now that you are slowly walking forward with one hand extended to feel your way along, as if moving through your physical home in the dark. Continue to sense that you are walking forward in the sleeping room until your extended hand touches the raised granite slab in front of you. When you reach the granite slab, imagine that you are reaching forward to retrieve something that sits upon its surface. Imagine that you are feeling the top surface of the slab, searching with your fingers to locate the small object awaiting your retrieval. What you're looking for is a very pale silver blue celestite crystal. It's spherical, about the size of an orange, with an unpolished, rough-hewn texture. This crystal is the door key to your density 1 etheric body. Now imagine or intend that you're picking up the crystal in your right hand, not your left, in your right hand. And model this gesture with your physical hand as it's resting in your lap. So allow your hand to move as if you're picking up the crystal size of an orange, rough-hewn in texture. Sense the size, the weight, the texture and temperature of the crystal with your physical hand, as if the object were really there. In a moment we're going to draw deeply pale silver Maharic current from Earth's core up into your body through your central vertical current directly into your heart chakra. And then you will exhale that current from the heart chakra down your right arm into your palm and into the celestite crystal that you're holding. So inhale pale silver Maharic current from Earth's core up through the central vertical current into your heart chakra, and then exhale forcefully down your right arm into your palm and into the crystal. Do this 3 times more, each time energizing and activating the celestite crystal in your palm. On the last exhale, imagine the crystal is glowing and pulsating with an aura of pale silver light. Now with your eyes still closed, move your physical right hand, imagining the activated celestite crystal within it, to a point on your physical body just below the navel, literally an inch or so below your navel. Cup your hand over this body area, as if the invisible crystal was positioned between your palm and your body. In a moment we'll take another Maharic breath up to the heart chakra. We'll exhale the breath down the right arm into and through the crystal. This breath carries the Maharic frequency into your body. There will be a sensation of mild buzzing in the area just below the navel as the data key stored in the crystal moves into the corresponding lock on the etheric body door. So inhale a Maharic breath all the way up to the heart chakra and exhale forcefully down your right arm into and through the crystal. Now this should cause a sensation of mild buzzing in the physical area just below the navel, as the data key stored in the celestite crystal moves into the corresponding lock on the etheric body door. If you don't feel a buzzing sensation right now, use 3 more strong inhale, exhale Maharic breaths through the crystal to amplify the charge that will release the data key. Now, whether you feel it or not, the additional 3 breaths will activate. And as the key releases, imagine that your body absorbs the entire crystal. Do that now. As your body removes it from the palm of your hand and transfers the crystal into the etheric lock below the navel. And as it does that, you may let your right hand rest gently in your lap, moving your mental focus to the area of your body where the crystal has entered. Try and imagine that you can sense the weight and gentle buzzing of the celestite crystal within your physical body below the navel. By now, the crystal will be rotating slowly and pulsing in a gentle rhythm. On every pulsation, releasing a pale silver-blue celestite wave field of frequency rays that contain the natural activation code mathematical program for your personal etheric body. We'll spend a few seconds so you can become aware of each gentle pulse of the subtle celestite wave as it emanates from just below the navel and spreads outward in all directions through every atom in your body, giving your D1 etheric body field its ancient wake-up call. Just relax and breathe slowly for a few moments to get in touch with the presence of the pulsating celestite waves. They are there, even if you cannot yet sense their presence. Your D1 atomic etheric body does sense them and will respond accordingly. Continue to sense the waves. I'll tell you what we're going to do next. We're going to inhale Maharic current up to the fourth heart chakra, then exhale the current within the heart chakra to form a small pale silver Maharic ball about the size of a golf ball. You will take 3 breaths in all, each time expanding the golf ball first to an orange size and then to a grapefruit size. You will try to observe the sensation of the Maharic ball expanding in your heart chakra. So in your own time, inhale Maharic current up to the heart chakra, exhale the frequency into the heart chakra, hold it within the heart chakra, to initially form a pale silver Maharic ball about the size of a golf ball. Take 2 more, moving it first to orange size and then to grapefruit size. Now in a second or two we'll take a final Maharic breath, but this time we'll inhale the current directly into the ball and use a forceful exhale to burst the ball while pushing the released rays of Maharic current throughout your entire body and outward into your auric field. So deep in breath, pull the frequency up from Earth's core straight into the ball, forceful exhale, burst the ball and push the rays out throughout your entire body and all through your auric field. Now move your attention down to the point below the navel, just below the navel, where the celestite crystal entered the body. This is the point in the body which is called the E-umbi. Now slowly inhale Maharic current upward from Earth's core to the E-umbi point by keeping the chest, diaphragm and lungs as stationary as possible and allowing the slow inhale breath to expand your abdomen and belly. So slowly inhale from the abdomen and belly. Just practice this 2 or 3 times, gently and easily. Just continue to practice gently and easily, because in a moment we'll initiate the activation breath, and when we do it we'll inhale Maharic current into the E-umbi while expanding the abdomen. We'll hold this breath for a moment while focusing mental attention on the celestite crystal in the E-umbi. Having held it, we'll exhale slowly, using the breath to push more Maharic current downward from the heart chakra to the E-umbi. After we've done that, we'll just sit gently and breathe easily, waiting for a very subtle pop sensation, or a sense of expansion, or even warmth to occur within the Iumbi point as the Iumbi lock seal releases, freeing the D1 atomic etheric body for merger with the D3 mental body. So if you're ready, inhale from the abdomen only. Bring the current into the Iumbi, hold it, focus mental attention on the crystal in the Iumbi. Exhale slowly using the breath to push more current downward from the heart chakra to the Iumbi. And when you finish, just allow yourself to breathe easily, waiting for the pop or the feeling of expansion or warmth to occur within the Iumbi point. As this happens, you may feel a lightheadedness or a slight spaciness as the D3 mental body capsule opens and expands into the etheric body blueprint. As this expansion occurs, it tends to feel like a form-fitting pale grey energy spacesuit around the entire physical body. You have prepared your etheric body now for independent travel under the direction of the D3 conscious mind. How quickly you will become able to hold clear mental focus within the etheric body vehicle depends upon the personal level of DNA template activation. When DNA strand template 4 fully activates, the D3 mind can simply shift its attention into the etheric body and step outside of the physical body for travels in the D3 mental plane. And before full strand 4 activation, there will be various sensory and experiential phenomena associated with accelerated strand 4 activation, initiated by this technique. So relax and breathe gently with your eyes closed, and imagine the etheric body spacesuit, an exact replica of your body as you know it now. Imagine you can see its pale blue-grey form sitting within your physical body in exactly the same position as you're sitting now. Imagine or intend that you can fully direct the etheric body and move the left etheric arm upward from your lap to a position over your head, as if you were raising your etheric hand. Use the mental command silently in your head, "The arm is up now," as you play with the etheric arm, trying to get it to respond. You will know that you have made the connection when you begin to have a subtle but progressively more distinct sense that a lighter weight arm has moved to a different position than the physical arm. Regardless of whether or not you can feel the etheric arm right now, next give the mental command silently in your head, "Body release now, right," while imagining that you and your etheric body are slowly standing up and moving out to the right, and stress, not to the left, not to the left, to the right side of the physical body. Imagine that you in your pale blue-grey spacesuit are now moving to a different position in the room. And then take yourself out the door. And from there, see how far your attention can follow the etheric body before you lose track of its imagined projection. And we'll spend a minute or two playing with that. finish this technique, technique 2, we'll try to shapeshift briefly. So, thinking of yourself in your pale blue-grey spacesuit, imagine that you're walking quickly back to stand beside the right side of your physical body. Unlike the physical body in its present condition, the etheric body has more flexibility of form than that currently available on a physical level. It would be extremely helpful if you were to realize that you are the spacesuit. There is no material difference between you and the spacesuit that you're thinking about, that you're intending or imagining. It's simply the form that your consciousness carries in communion with the etheric body, just as your physical body is the form your consciousness carries when you're in biological D3 focus. So now, lightheartedly, or as seriously you wish, choose a form, anything that springs to mind naturally and quickly and easily is the best. Any object, plant, animal, whatever it takes your fancy, and imagine that your etheric body is now a pale blue-grey cloud of energy hanging in the air to the right of your physical body, awaiting your command as to what form it will become. Now you need to hold firmly in mind the image or intention of the form you wish to create. Then visualize or imagine that your etheric body has complied and turned itself into the form, as the pale blue-grey form now hanging in the air at the right side of your body. And the shape-shifting element, you need to try and feel the sensation of being the form that you've created with your etheric body. And as that feeling becomes fully real to you, allow yourself to move as this form. Have the form stand up. Move across the room. Just allow it to move around this room. And play with that for just a little while. In your own time, bring the form you have created back to your right side. And when you're ready, take one gentle but deep breath. And as you do, pull the etheric form, your etheric body, back into the physical body. And we'll move on to technique 3, which is quite short. The Eros flame and the silver sanctum, activating the celestite crystal and the etheric body Akasha seal, which is Eros flame activation level 2. The purpose of technique 3 concerns the Yumbi passage below the navel. Once it has been opened through release of the celestite crystal of dimensional lock 3, the D3 mental body field opens into the radial body Eros field, causing the polarized D5, D7 Eros to depolarize to a D12 Manu Rayon field. The density 1 body will then be prepared to receive the frequencies of the fully activated celestite crystal and the density 1 Eros flame Akasha body or silver sanctum. Activation of the Eros flame opens the Manu window surrounding the density 1 Hoover body, which will begin activation of the density 1 mano windows in the nucleus of every atom in the body. So if you've lost track a little of your breathing rhythm and your breathing rate, just bring your attention back to that and try and slow it a little bit. While you're paying attention to your breathing rate, you can also accommodate attention on the mental body at the Iombi point, just below the navel. Now we begin by imagining that your consciousness, your conscious awareness, exists now, and you create this for yourself, as a spark of pale silver Maharic light. So see your consciousness as a spark of pale silver Maharic light placed within the celestite crystal sphere, within the Iombi point. With all of your attention focused on the celestite crystal at the Iombi point, give the mental command, shift now, silently in your head to the etheric body vehicle, while imagining that your etheric body moves out to the right of your physical body, with the silver spark of your consciousness placed within the brain center, pineal gland of the etheric body. It is from the etheric body that the Eros flame within and surrounding the body can be activated. So using the vertical breathing rhythm of running the Maharic current within your physical body, you will move the silver spark within the etheric body. And we'll do this by inhaling Maharic current up from earth core and into the heart chakra. In one smooth breathing motion, we'll then exhale the current into the heart chakra and then direct its flow downward to the celestite crystal at the Iombi. We'll take 2 more Maharic breaths, using each exhale to expand the Maharic current into the heart chakra, then down into the celestite crystal. So in your own time, inhale Maharic current up from earth core into the heart chakra, and in one smooth breathing motion, exhale the current into the heart chakra and then direct its flow downward to the celestite crystal at the Iombi point just below the navel. Take 2 more breaths doing this. And with your attention firmly focused on the celestite crystal, inhale deeply from earth core, pulling Maharic frequency up from earth core, and then on the exhale, push the energy, the frequency, forcefully into the crystal, while imagining the crystal moves with the breath into the Iombi cord and to the right, passing from your physical body into the Iombi of the etheric body. So see a cord running from your own Iombi and your physical into the Iombi position of the etheric body, and that the crystal moves with the breath to the right into the etheric body at the Iombi point. Now with that done, bring your attention up to the pineal gland and the pale silver spark within the pineal gland of the etheric body. On the next inhale, in the physical body, we'll draw the frequency, then exhale it forcefully as we imagine the silver spark rides the breath current, moving rapidly down from the etheric pineal into the celestite crystal at the etheric Iombi point. So draw a deep breath in the physical, exhale forcefully, imagining the spark rides the current down from the etheric pineal into the celestite crystal at the etheric Iombi. When the silver spark intersects with the celestite crystal, a momentary flaring occurs as the celestite crystal bursts into a small pale silver blue Eros flame about 1.5 inches high within the etheric body Iombi. See it if you can, intend it if you can't. Inhale And on the exhale, imagine the pale silver blue Eros flame spread through every atom of the etheric body, turning the pale blue-grey etheric body into a brilliant, glowing, shimmering, pale silver blue etheric body that glows and gently pulses, sending rays of pale silver blue energy outward through and beyond the etheric body into the biofield with every pulse. Now bring your attention to the small Eros flame at the etheric body Iombi. We'll inhale using the breath to draw the Eros flame through the Iombi cord and into the physical Iombi point. So inhale using the breath to draw the flame through the cord from the etheric into the physical body Iombi point. Then exhale forcefully using the breath to push the flame down to Earth's core. When the flame enters the chakra seals at Earth's core, the flame again momentarily flares, filling every atom in your physical body with pale silver blue Eros Maharata divine blueprint frequency. If you can, sense or at least intend the release of the Eros wave within the physical body as a gentle ripple of energy that moves simultaneously in all directions throughout the physical body. Now with your attention focused only on the Eros flame at Earth core, inhale deeply and draw the Eros flame up to the heart chakra. Focus your attention on the inside of the flame and then exhale forcefully, using the breath to rapidly expand the flame from within the heart chakra and outward throughout the body until the flame is fully expanded around the entire body and outward several feet into your auric field. And as it does this, it forms the pale silver blue Akasha inner sanctum body capsule. Bring your attention back to the etheric body position to the right of your physical body. And simply inhale, drawing the etheric body horizontally back into the physical body. As the two bodies rapidly align, the Eros flame Akasha capsule will momentarily flare as the Eros flame phase locks within both the etheric and physical bodies, signifying the Akasha seal Eros flame and celestite crystal are now fully activated. The crystal will remain in position at the etheric body Iombi until you next use the technique 1-2-3 sequence to reactivate and amplify the Eros flame activation, at which time the celestite crystal will again be found on the granite slab within the sleeping room at the bottom of the 22-step spiral staircase. Just allow yourself to relax and breathe easily. Just give yourself a little body check. Make sure you brought your consciousness back fully into the body. And you're on time. Open your eyes. Have a little stretch. And then pop off to lunch. And we'll resume in exactly 1 hour from now, which is 2:30.